I'm Gareth from Park Cameras, and today we're talking about the Nikon D850. Now, I don't want to spoil the end of this video, but this camera is incredible, and there's something for everyone to get excited about. So the D850 is a camera that doesn't really need any introduction. It's an unbelievable camera, and Nikon have really knocked it out of the park with this one. So let's just get straight into it. It's got a 45.7 megapixel back illuminated full frame CMOS sensor. And oh my God, the pictures you can get out of this are amazing. They're so rich, detailed, crisp. You can crop in, no problem. You can crop in again, still no problem. The amount of detail in there with that 45.7 megapixel means that you can just crop in, reframe your shot, recompose. You've got so much to play with in post. It's amazing. You can print massive. It's a great tool to have as a photographer. Now, one thing that often suffers when you have that massive megapixel count like that is low light performance. But with the back illuminated sensor in this camera is great at low light. It seems to be pretty much on par with what the other brands are offering, and Nikon has done a great job to keep that in check while still having that huge megapixel count. Something else that can be affected when you've got that massive megapixel count is the frame rate when you're shooting in continuous mode, but this will do 7 frames per second in this standard setup. But whack the battery grip on, you get up to 9 frames a second. And when you consider the file size, the megapixel count, that's incredible. Now, part of that is to do with the fact that it's got the same image processor as the D5, so it's just great at processing those huge images. But that's a great tool to have in the camera. It can also shoot in silent mode using the electronic shutter, which is a great thing to have if you need to be a little bit more discreet. So if you're shooting a wedding, shooting wildlife, great thing to have in a camera. Brings it on par with a lot of the mirrorless systems. It'll even shoot 6 frames a second in silence, so it's a great tool to have in there. Now, it shares the autofocus system from the D5, and that means it's got 153 autofocus points in the camera. And I've got to say, this is a particularly good autofocus system. It seems to just work really fast, really accurate. It's got all the high-end features you'd want, things like face detection, 3D tracking. Great stuff to have, everything you'd expect from a high-end camera like this. So that's stills, but it's great to see Nikon pushing video in this camera as well. And like I said at the beginning, there really is something for everyone in this camera. And whether you're more into stills, more into video, or a bit of a hybrid, this is a great option. So video-wise, it'll shoot 4K at up to 30 frames a second. It'll shoot full HD 1080p at up to 120 frames a second. So you can get that buttery smooth slow motion. Always looks great. Always looks cinematic. It's my favorite way to shoot. Always looks great, and I love it. I love when cameras include that. It doesn't have log profiles, but it does have a built-in flat profile, which is really useful for video. It's got a 4K time-lapse mode built right into the camera, so it'll stitch it all together for you and give you this 4K time-lapse. Or you can create a true 8K time-lapse using interval shooting and then just stitch it together in post yourself. Now, this is one of the best cameras I've used for time-lapse, and that's because that 4K time-lapse mode in the camera is so good. And a true 8K time-lapse gives you so many options in post, whether you want to crop, whether you want to add a zoom, anything like that. It gives you so many options to play with. Really nice addition to the camera. The camera itself is a good size, it feels nice in the hand. I love this grip, it's really nice and deep, it feels chunky and like a nice camera. It is quite weighty, especially with the battery grip, but I quite like that. It feels like a pro camera, it feels like it's built like a tank. It does feel like it could take quite a lot of wear and tear, like it's designed to be taken out and used all the time, which is really nice. feels like a pro camera, and it actually behaves like one as well. So the battery life in this is incredible. As standard, just as is, you can get up to 1,840 shots on one battery, which is outrageous. But if you put the battery grip on, you can get 5,140 shots on one charge. Oh, I don't even understand. That's some sort of magic to me. But that means you could do a whole shoot on one charge. You could live on the edge and just not even take a second battery if you really wanted to. But that is incredible. That's a really, really, really good feature to have in the camera. Now the camera itself has been extensively weather sealed as well, so that's a really nice thing to have because we've all been there. You're out shooting, rain starts coming down, snow starts coming down, maybe not at the same time, but you're there, you start panicking a little bit, trying to cover up the camera, but this has been extensively weather sealed, so it's ready for the outdoor photographer. There's also the screen on the back. Now this is a touch flip screen, which comes out, and that is so handy. I always think this, whenever a camera has the flip out, super, super handy. So you can do it if you're shooting up high, you can do it if you're shooting down low. Really, really handy thing to have as opposed to it just being stuck on the back there. The touch screen as well, it's just worth noting. It's really nice, it's really intuitive. It sounds like a tiny thing, but it just makes a big difference. You can kind of flip through the pictures, pinch and zoom. Really, really nice, intuitive. Even if you've never used it before, you didn't 100% know what you're doing, you get the grip straight away. It kind of feels natural, which is a really nice feature to have in there. It's got a mic in, it's got a headphone out, it's got a clean HDMI, it's got dual card slots, one for SD, one for XQD, so that's super, super handy. All in all, I'm so impressed with this camera. There's something for everyone to get excited about, whether you're into stills and you've got that huge megapixel count, the good frame rate shooting continuous, amazing autofocus, and incredible battery life, or whether you're into video, in which case you've got 4K, you've got full HD at 120 frames a second, again, great battery life, great looking footage, flat profiles, lovely, lovely cameras, something for everyone. If you're into both, oh, it's quite a time you're gonna have. But it's just a great camera all round. Something that's really nice as well is all of the technology in the camera feels like it's been optimized to its best. It feels like it's being used to its best potential, which is really nice. Sometimes that's not always the case, and this one feels like it's really, everything they've put in, they've made it the best it can be, and that's really, really nice feature. So if you've got any questions about the camera at all, by all means, pop them in the comments below. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. If you liked the video, hit the like button, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video, and as always, thanks for watching.